So ask questions if you have questions. So 5.6, 50-point test on Tuesday. And let's talk about what this says. 5.6, find rational zeros. Does anybody know what the word rational means? Okay, they are real. Yes, when you see the word rational, these will be real zeros. Okay? They will not be imaginary, they will be real. But y'all, this is just a mathy or a technical term for a fraction. 9 times out of 10, when they say rational, you're going to have some fractions. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you the technical definition of a rational number, and then you tell me if it has to be a fraction. Okay? So, a rational number is any number that can be expressed in the form of a over b, where a and b are integers, and b cannot be equal to 0. That's the definition of a rational number. I'll say it one more time. Any number that can be expressed in the form of a over b, where a and b are integers, and b cannot be equal to 0, because you can't divide by 0. Okay, so is 3 a rational number?
Yes.
Yeah, because you can express it as what? 3 over 1. Okay? Is 2/3 a rational number?
Yes.
He's a fraction. Okay? What about 0.5?
No.
Yes.
Oh, so I can include, I mean, you can do some decimals. Is it all decimals?
No.
No. It's only, y'all listen to me, if it's not a rational number, we call it an irrational number, all right? So what I'm not talking about are irrational numbers. These are irrational numbers. Irrational numbers are non-repeating, non-terminating decimals. So if you take the square root of a non-perfect square, that's an irrational number. Your calculator's gonna round it off to, like, I don't know, whatever it goes to, 9 or 10 places or whatever, all right? But it's an irrational number. It doesn't stop and it doesn't repeat, and there's, they just had to round it off. Pi is an irrational number, right? We round it off to 3.14, but that's not really what it is, okay? So what if I took the square root of 7? Is that rational or irrational? That's irrational, because 7's not a perfect square. What if I took the square root of 25? Is that rational or irrational? Rational. It's 5, right? Do you see what I'm saying? If you can't tell me what it is without using a decimal, then that's an irrational number when you do a square root. Okay? So what we're doing is we're talking about rational zeros. So they might be an integer, okay? Because I can still express that as a fraction by putting it over 1. But it might not. It might be just a fraction, like 2/3 or 1/6 or whatever. Okay? All right. So remember yesterday, this is what we did. I gave you one, either I gave you one factor or I gave you one 0, and then you found the rest of the zeros. Everybody agree? You just used synthetic division and you took it down. So guess what we're doing today? We're doing the same thing, except I'm not going to give you a 0. You're just gonna have to start guessing numbers.
Okay, that was a joke, right?
You just guess numbers? Huh?
Take 10 years to figure it out.
Oh, it could take,
She said, oh, right.
it could take 10 years to figure it out, Amy says. Yes, it could if you're not a good guesser, right? You know? So what if I told you something that could narrow it down? Would that be good? Would you like that? Okay, so, I mean, even if I could only narrow it down to 16, is that better than infinity?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, so here we go. This is what is called possible rational zeros. All right, possible rational zeros. Now, does this mean that all of these will be zeros? No, it means they could be. But here's what it does mean. It means that if they have rational zeros, they'll be in my group, okay? If your equation has rational zeros, they will be in my group. And I'll show you some fast ways to check okay? A couple of secrets, and then it won't be so bad, all right? So, possible rational zeros. It is plus or minus P over Q. Plus or minus P over Q. Now, what's P and Q? All right, so this is the way I try to get kids to remember this, okay? So I always say it's kind of like, this is the way heaven's gonna be, okay? Because what does it say about heaven? In heaven, the last are going to be first, and the first are gonna be last. What? That's when I get to be first in heaven, okay? So this guy right here on top, this guy, he's representing all the factors of the constant. Where's the constant? Where's the constant on my polynomial? He's at the end. He's at the end, and now he gets to be on top. He gets to be first, okay? And Q represents all the factors of my leading coefficient. Tell me what the leading coefficient is first. Very good. He's the coefficient of the highest exponent. So where is he? Yeah, he's at the first. He's gonna be the first guy, and now he's going to the bottom. And this is gonna be the last guy, and he gets to be on top. Okay? And that's where we're going to get all of our possible rational zeros. If we're gonna be guessing numbers, people, we're picking them from these guys right here. If it's not one of these guys, don't try it, because guess what? It won't work. All right? So, here we go. First, we're just gonna list some possible rational zeros, and then we'll work some problems. Okay, so this is example 1. And we are going to list the possible rational zeros. Okay? List the possible rational zeros. So here's the first one. I'm going to do 2 of them. I'm going to do the first one, and then I'm going to let you do the second one. Second one's going to be a lot more difficult. Okay? So my equation is f of x is equal to x to the third plus 2x squared minus 11x plus 12. Okay? I'm going to list the possible rational zeros. Possible rational zeros. All right, so I'm going to tell you what I will accept and what I will not accept. It is plus or minus P over Q. All the factors of the constant over all of the factors of the leading coefficient. So the first thing I want to do is make sure you don't leave off the plus or minus. If you leave off the plus or minus, technically you left off half of the possible answers. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so who is P? 12. This guy right here is P. So I'm going to give you a hint. You don't have to follow it, people, all right? But I promise you, I've been doing this a lot longer than you, and I know the mistakes that happen, okay? And you'll go, well, I don't need to do it that way, Miss Davis. Okay. It doesn't matter to me. I don't really care. I'm just telling you the best way to do it, okay? The best way to list factors. The worst way to list factors is just to go, well, the factors of 12, let's say they're 1 and 2. That's the worst way. Because inevitably, when you're taking a test and you're stressed and hurried, you will leave one out, okay? So do it this way. The same way we do when we're factoring. 1 and what? 12. Is it 2 and anything? 2 and 6. Is it 3 and anything? 3 and 4. And then 4 and 3. And whenever they flip-flop like that, 3 and 4 and 4 and 3, then you know you've listed them all. Or if they stack upon themselves like 3 and 3 for 9, then you know you're finished. Okay? But if you just run across like this, you'll forget to put something down. All right? So be careful. Who is Q? What is the leading coefficient?
1.
Yeah, he's a 1. And so what are the factors of 1? 1. Okay? So it's all of these numbers over 1. And what does that mean it is?
It's all those numbers.
It's all those numbers. Now watch this. I'm going to show you something. If this had been a 2 right here, this would have been a 1 and a 2. It would have been all those numbers over 1 and all those numbers over 2. Does everybody understand? Don't double list things. Okay? Like if this coefficient right here had been a 2, it would have been all these numbers over one, which is just plus or minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, okay? But it would have, if this had been a 2, I would have had these factors down here as 1 and 2. And then you would have put everything over 2. 1/2. Don't write that down, people, that's not right. I'm just pretending, do you understand? Okay? And 2 over 2, what is 2 over 2? 1, you already got that. 3 over 2, you don't have it, so you would have written it down. 4 over 2, what's 4 over 2? 2, so you already got, you see what I'm saying? So these are my possible rational roots, or zeros. Everybody got it? All right, so here's yours to do. F of x is equal to 4x to the 4th minus x to the 3rd minus 3x squared plus 9x minus 10. I want you to list the possible rational roots.
Does the sign have anything to do with it?
No, sign doesn't, because we're doing the plus or minus, so the
Oh, okay.
sign doesn't affect anything, okay? But that's a very good question. Okay, you got it? All right, so who is P?
10.
Factors of 10, okay? What are the factors of 10? 1 and 10, 2 and anything? 3 and anything? 4 and anything? 5 and 2, so we're finished, all right? And y'all look, these are just my notes, I don't care what they look like, I don't care if it has a big space, all right? Q, who's Q? Factors of 4, factors of 4 are 1 and 4 and 2 and 2, okay? So, I'm going to put everybody over a 1, plus or minus. Y'all don't forget that plus or minus, okay? Don't forget the plus or minus. It's gonna cost you more points than you can afford or you want to pay, all right? So even if I charge you 2 points for that plus or minus, on a 50-point test, it's really how many points? 4. Okay? So, plus or minus, all of these over 1. 1, 2, 5, and 10. Now I'm gonna put everything over what? 2. So, 1 over 2. 2 over 2. Already got it. 5 over 2. 10 over 2. 5. We got it. Okay? Now I'm going to put everything over 4. 1 over 4. 2 over 4. That's a half. You already got it. 5 over 4. 10 over 4. 5 halves. I don't need it. All right. Everybody okay? Does anybody have a question? Okay, so now we're gonna work a problem. I'm gonna pretend like this problem is exactly like the problem on your 50-point test, okay? We know how to do everything except for one skill. We're gonna learn it Monday, okay? So this is example 2. and he says, find all the zeros. It actually says find all real zeros, but your test will say find all the zeros, okay? Find all the zeros, so I'm just changing it, making it look just like that. Here's my equation, f of x is equal to x to the third minus 8x squared plus 11x plus 20. Okay, these are the questions that will be on your test. I'm going to kind of separate this off. Okay, just so you can see that this is all one problem. The very first question on your test will say the number of solutions. Okay, you write the answer right there. You should know it. If you don't know it, you haven't been paying attention for the last 2 weeks. What is it?
3.
Very good. There are 3 solutions. It is the highest exponent of your polynomial. That's how many solutions that you will have. Okay? Now, the next blank is going to say, list the possible rational roots. That's what we just learned how to do. Okay? The next blank is going to say, list all the factors. We're going to factor that guy. We learned yesterday that even though I look at him and I go, well, you can't take anything out, and if I try and group him in factoring, he doesn't work, I still now will have a skill to factor him, okay? And then the last blank is going to say, tell me all the roots. How many numbers will be in this last blank? 3. Whatever's up here, people. Roots and solutions are all the same thing. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is find the possible rational roots. I'll give you 1 minute and let you do that. Okay, everybody got the answer? So, P is the factors of 20, so that will be 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3 and nothing, 4 and 5, and 5 and 4. Q, the factors of 1. Y'all listen to me, I will not take your answer like this, okay? And this is the reason why. I will not take it like this. You have to rewrite it like it's supposed to look. So, plus or minus all these numbers over 1. 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. Anybody got a question?
Does it have to be in order like that?
No, they don't. Okay? They sure don't. It's easier for me to grade, but they don't have to be. All right, is everybody okay? Now, y'all listen to me. This is what I'm talking about. Right now, all you gotta do is start guessing. Yeah, I mean, that's what you do. I mean, look, I did you a favor, because you were picking from all the numbers in the whole wide world, all right? But now you're only picking from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, times 2 of them for the plus or minus, so 12. I knocked it way down for you, okay? I'm gonna show you another trick. The very first thing you should find is f of 1 and f of negative 1, because they are so easy to find. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to plug them in, because yesterday we learned that when you plug them in, whatever they equal to, that's your remainder, right? That's what the remainder theorem said yesterday. Whatever you get when you plug that in, that would be your remainder when you use synthetic division. So, what do I want to get when I plug it in? 0. That says he's a root, okay? Now watch what happens. This is why it's so easy to do 1 and -1. 1. Y'all, when you raise 1 to any power, what will it be? 1. When you multiply 1 by any coefficient, you'll just get that coefficient, right? So all I'm doing is writing down the coefficients. 1 minus 8 plus 11 plus 20. 1 minus 8 plus 11 plus 20. Okay, I want it to be 0. Now this is what I do. I do all the positives together and all the negatives together and see if they cancel each other out. Okay, if they're opposites, then we're good, that's a 0. If they're not, then it's not a 0 and we take him off the list. He doesn't work, okay? In pre-cal, we learn things about the numbers, but we don't learn those in here, so it doesn't do us any good. But my positives would be 1 and 11 is 12, and 12 and 20 is 32 minus 8. Is that 0?
No.
Okay, so it's 24, it's not equal to 0, so 1's not good. Now I'll do -1. Now, does a -1 change the number of the coefficient?
No.
What's the only thing he changes? Of who?
Of the ones that have even,
Even exponents? What's a negative number raised to an even power? Positive. What's a negative number raised to an odd power? That's a negative. So which one's he gonna change? Those odd exponents. The even ones, you're multiplying by positive, so he's not gonna change his sign. But the odd exponent, you change his sign. So everybody hear what I'm saying, because this is easy. All you're doing is looking and seeing. If he has an odd exponent, you change the coefficient sign. If he has an even exponent, you leave it alone. Everybody got it? So, tell me what this is, even or odd? So what number do I write down? -1. Tell me what this is, even or odd? So what number do I write down? -8. Don't change it. Odd changes the sign, even keeps the sign, okay? What number is this? And is 1 even or odd? Odd. So what do you do with this +11? -11. And then, hey guys, this guy's a constant. That means he can't change. He doesn't have any x's, okay? So you can't change him. He's +20. All right. What's -1 and -8? -9 and -11. What's -20 and +20? Ooh, yay! I found one. So watch what I'm fixing to do. I'm gonna go down here. What's my root?
X.
What? What's my root? -1. What's my factor? X plus 1. Very good. Very good. Okay? All right. Now what am I going to do with that -1? Am I going to keep guessing all these numbers? Now it's just like the problem you got yesterday. You know one of them. So what are we going to do? Yeah, we're going to use synthetic division and take this cubic down to a quadratic and hope it factors. If it doesn't factor, we'll have to use quadratic formula. Okay? All right, so here we go. -1. We're doing that synthetic division. You understand why? You see how I just added one skill? I took something away from you yesterday, and then you had to start guessing. All right? So 3, 2, 1, 0. All my powers are there. So I'll write my coefficients down. 1, -8, 11, and 20. What do I know this remainder is going to be? People, he's a root. We already said he was. It better be 0. All right, so I bring down my 1. What's 1 times -1? What's -8 and -1? What's -9 times -1? What's 9 and 11? What's 20 times -1? There's my 0. Okay, tell me what my equation is.
1x squared minus 9x plus 20.
Yep. Good. x squared minus 9x plus 20. 1 degree less than this one. Why? Because I divided by an x plus 1. That's what this is. It's the root of x plus 1. So you got 1 degree less, so he starts at a square and he just goes down. Can you factor this?
Yes.
What does he factor into?
Negative 4, negative
Yeah, x minus 4 and x minus 5. Okay? What's this root right here?
4.
4.
5.
What's the factor?
X minus 4.
What's this root right here?
5.
What's the factor?
X minus 5.
There you go. That's what your 50-point test is gonna look like.
I like it.
It's gonna have one more skill on it, I'm gonna teach you on Monday, okay? So make sure you get it on Monday, because Tuesday, I'm gonna test you on it. Anybody got a question?
How many problems are gonna be on our 50-point test?
One problem,
One problem?
one problem, okay? Go ahead and ask me. Anybody thinking it?
If we miss it, do we fail?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 answers. Do you agree with that? Okay, so I'm doing I'm grading every part. Now look, if you miss the roots, are you most likely gonna miss the factors? Alright, so that's 2 parts right there, people. Okay? That's 2 parts right there. So you better learn how to do it. So nobody's gonna ask me the question Camden asked me this morning. Is it gonna be an x to the third?
Is it gonna be an x to the third?
Nope,
Would you like an x that's 7?
4.
What?
Okay.
You gonna work one of those for us?
Yeah, let's work one now. Now, what's different? What's different about an x to the fourth and an x to the third? It's got so you're gonna have, there's more solutions. How many times are you gonna have to do synthetic division? Twice. So you're gonna be guessing things twice. You see what I'm saying? It's gonna make it a little more difficult, okay? A little more difficult. You're just gonna be guessing things twice. Now, did I tell you too that you could do really fast and easy? I would always start out with those 2, okay? Always start, and then after that, you can just like, twirl your finger around and snap it on your paper and say, I pick you. All right, you can do it in an orderly fashion. It doesn't matter, all right? But you try it. After the ones, you need to use synthetic division. It's faster and you're less likely to make a mistake, okay? After the ones, you need to use synthetic division and you're less likely to make a mistake. Plus, if it works, then you've already got it factored down. All right, so here we go. F of x is equal to x to the fourth plus 2x to the third minus 9x squared minus 2x plus 8. Fill in these blanks. Now, if I put possible rational zeros here, y'all would be okay, right? I think it says roots, but I'm not really sure. But they're both the same thing, and you should know that. Okay, so you fill in these first 2 blanks really fast. All right, did you get those?
Yes.
Okay, 4 solutions, because it's a 4th degree equation. It's highest exponent, it's how many solutions. That's the fundamental theorem of algebra, okay? So, possible rational roots. The last are first and the first are last. the factors of the last over the factors of the first. I will not take it like this, so don't do it like that in the blank, okay? Now, what are we gonna do? Yeah, we're gonna try 1 and -1, people, all right? I'm gonna try 1. So, I'm gonna go f of 1. What am I looking for it to be? 0. When you do 1, all you do is what?
Bring everything down.
Yeah, just write all the coefficients down, okay? Write all the coefficients down. So 1 plus 2 minus 9 minus 2. Is this a coefficient?
No. Or, but yes, no.
He is a constant, but he really is a coefficient of what? X to the 0. Very good. Plus 8. All right? Now, let's collect. I'm going to collect my positives. What's 1 and 2? 3 and 8.
11.
So I got an 11. What's negative 9 and negative 2? Oh, happy day. I got me a 0. Okay? What am I going to do with that 0?
Put a happy face on it.
Yeah, I put a happy face on it. Makes me happy. I'm going to write my root down here. What's your root?
1.
Yeah, be careful. Don't write that 0 down there. Okay? 1. What's my factor?
X minus 1.
Good. Okay? Now what am I going to do with him? Yeah, I'm going to use my synthetic division. I'm going to take this 4th down to a 3rd. So here's my 1. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So 1, 2, negative 9, negative 2, and 8. I know that's supposed to be a 0. I put him here because he keeps me on track, okay? I know what I'm supposed to get right there. So I bring my 1 down and I multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 and 1 make 3. Do you have to be very careful doing this? Y'all, this is easy. You're multiplying and then adding, and then multiplying and then adding. This morning I did it in my brain when I was supposed to be multiplying. It did what? It added it, and then I was like, whoa, wait, I'm supposed to get a 0, and I didn't. And they all started laughing and told me why. So 3 times 1 is 3. What's negative 9 and 3? Negative 6 times 1 is negative 2 and negative 6.
Negative 8.
Negative 8 times 1.
Negative.
And negative 8 and 8 make 0. Tell me what this equation is.
X third plus 3x squared minus 6x minus 8.
Amazing. Okay? Now guess what, people? We're starting all over again. Okay? Now this is my polynomial. Okay? This is my polynomial. Should we try 1 again?
Yes.
Why?
Oh, wait, no.
We already answered it.
Try negative because it.
Oh, Ethan said he could be a double root. You ever heard of that?
No. Never
What?
mind.
Yes, you have. Stop that. All right? So try it again. You don't know, people. You don't know. So f of 1. It doesn't take long to try. You go 1 plus 3 minus 6 minus 8. And then you go what? You're not equal to 0, people. That's 4 minus 14. That is not 0. Okay, so what do we want to try now?
Negative 1.
Yeah. So you do negative 1. You see if you can write the coefficients down with the proper signs. Okay, so you should have changed the sign of every odd exponent. So 3 is odd, so this becomes a negative 1. 2 is even, so I keep the positive 3. Y'all listen, the reason you're doing that is because when you raise a negative 1 to an odd power, it is a negative 1. When you raise a negative 1 to an even power, it becomes a positive 1, so he won't change it. This exponent is 1, he's odd, so this becomes plus 6. And 8 doesn't have an x, so he stays negative 8. So my negatives are negative 9, and my positives are positive 9. So that is a 0. So what am I writing down here on my roots?
Negative 1.
And my factor?
X plus 1.
Okay, and what am I gonna use with it? Synthetic division. What am I writing on the porch? Y'all listen to me. That is such a common mistake. But you can't use these coefficients, can you? These are not the coefficients. But you look up there and you go, oh, there's the coefficients. No, that's -1. That's when you changed all the signs. So be very careful doing that. Okay? That's a very common mistake. Go back up to your polynomial and pull your coefficients out. 3, 2, 1, 0, everybody's there. So 1, 3, -6, -8. I know he's supposed to be a 0. Okay, now stop for just 1 second and I want to talk to you. Okay? If -1 had not worked, what would you have done?
2.
Kept up.
Yeah, you
Pick
would,
another
yes,
number?
I would have just tried 2. If 2 didn't work, what would I have done?
Negative.
I would have tried -2. I'm more of an orderly fashion person, okay? So I'm not a haphazard, just, I'm throwing the axe at the bullseye and whoever he hits, that's who I'm choosing to pick, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of go down the line, all right? So you can do whatever you want to. If and y'all listen, we'll do some of those Mondays, so I'll tell you that Monday. Yes, Kevin?
On the f of -1, why did you make it a -8 at the end?
Because he is a -8. He's a constant. He doesn't have an x, so you're not multiplying by anything. He stays the same. The constant always stays the same.
Oh, okay, I see.
Okay? All right. So now I'm going to bring down my 1, and I'm going to multiply. 1 times -1 is -1. 3 and -1 make 2. Multiply, -2. Add, -8. Multiply, +8, and there's my 0. Okay? So what does this guy give me?
X squared plus 2x minus 8.
Very good. Okay? And can I factor that?
Yes.
What does he factor into?
X minus 2.
Yes. Either way. Does order matter?
No.
No. Order does not matter. Okay? So, what is this root?
-4.
And my factor?
X plus 4.
And what is this root?
2.
And what's my factor?
X minus 2.
That's what your 50-point test will look like.
What's on my field?
But now I'll venture to say, probably, maybe not quite that, not 1 and -1. Alright? Because I want to know if you know that when they don't work, or at least one of them doesn't work, then you need to start guessing. Okay? Alright, so let's do one more problem. Okay? And then with this next problem, you're going to see why we can't, why I'm going to let you use a calculator on your big test. Alright? Find the zeros. F of x is equal to 10x to the 4th minus 11x to the 3rd minus 42x squared plus 7x plus 12. Okay? We're finding the zeros. So, first off, how many solutions? Okay? 4 solutions. I want you to find me the possible rational roots. You better draw a long line, people. Okay? Let's do it together so we can maybe finish this thing. Plus or minus P over Q. Who's P?
12.
Factors of 12. So, plus or minus. Guys, always get in a habit of putting that plus or minus, okay? That's 2 points. That's 4 points on that 50-point test. All right, so be careful about that. The factors of 12. 1 and 12. 2 and anything? 2 and 6. 3 and anything? 4. And 4 and 3. So that's all. Who's Q? 10. The factors of 10. 1 and 10. 2 and 5. 3 and nothing. 4 and nothing. 5 and 2. So, plus or minus. Everybody over 1. So we write them down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Now what am I gonna do?
Everybody
About
over
two.
Put everybody over two. So that's 1/2. What about 2/2?
We already have
We already got it. What about 3/2? Write it down. What about 4/2?
Already got it.
What about 6/2?
Already got it.
What about 12/2?
Already got it.
Okay, so now we're moving to 5. 1/5? What about 2/5? What about 3/5? What about 4/5? What about 6/5? What about 12/5? Wow. Tenths. What about 1/10? What about 2/10?
Don't write.
That's 1/5. What about 3/10? What about 4/10? 6/10? 12/10? All right. That's a lot to pick from, isn't it?
Oh.
Okay, that's a lot to pick from.
Especially if it's one
Okay, so let's try f of 1. Okay, let's try f of 1. All I gotta do is write my exponents. I mean, not my exponents, my coefficients. Thank you. So 10 minus 11 minus 42 plus 7 plus 12. All right. So what's 10 and 7?
17.
17 and 12.
29.
17 and 12.
No,
29. And negative 11 and negative 42 is negative 53. People, that ain't 0. Okay? So let's try f of negative 1. So does the 10 change signs?
No.
Does the negative 11 change signs?
Yes.
So plus 11. Does the negative 42 change signs?
No.
Negative 42. Does the 7?
Yeah.
Negative 7. Does the 12?
No.
Okay, so 10 and 11 is 21. 21 and 12 is 33. But 33 minus 49 is not 0. So he's still not 0. So now I'm crying, right? So, all right, now we're guessing. Oh my word. Okay, y'all listen to me. You would just have to start guessing. Okay, you would just have to start guessing. Now I do want to. I think I'll show you that because I'm about to run out of time. So I think I'll just show you that on Monday. So I'm going to show you what I would do if I were taking the big test. Obviously, I'm not going to have a calculator on the 50-point test. I would go to my calculator. I would go to y equals, somebody erase my equation out of here. So, minus 11x raised to the third minus 42x squared plus 7x plus 12. What am I going to do with him? Yeah, people, I'm going to graph him. And I'm going to say, oh, looks like there's one at negative 1 1/2. You see it? Negative 1 1/2. So watch what I can do. Second and calculate
Oh, yeah.
a value. Negative 1.5. Oh, he's not 1, is he? It's not negative 1 1/2. Tell me what else it could be.
Three.
2.75?
It's gotta be.
2.75?
Yeah.
That's this guy right here?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
So let's go negative 12 fifths. No.
It's crazy.
0.2.
It's 1, y'all. It's not 2. It's 1. Negative 1 point something. So, oh, I did that. So let's go negative
4/5.
6, or negative 4 fifths, or negative, no, 4 fifths won't, but 6 fifths might. Let's go negative 6 fifths. No. I'm giving up right now. Sorry, this is what I get for doing
Three
something I
halves.
didn't never do.
Or
I'm gonna,
three halves.
could we do this? Second and calculate? Zero? Can we do that? Alright, anyway, so you can use your calculator, the bell's fixing to ring, so I'm fixing to get next. But you can use your calculator and decide what to pick. You see what I'm saying? That's why we're not using a calculator